Welcome to Lead with Clarity. This is a space for leaders who want to grow without losing themselves in the process. Each episode is a short reflection on leadership, influence, and the inner work that shapes how we show up for others. It's not hype, not noise, just clear thinking for the journey of leading well. Today's episode is entitled Coulda, Shoulda, Woulda, the accountability standard that built champions. Here we go. There's a phrase that shows up in almost every post-game locker room, every boardroom debrief, and every honest conversation a leader eventually has with themselves. I should have done that differently. We say it as if it explains something, as if saying it out loud settles the account. But Pat Riley, one of the most demanding and decorated coaches in the history of professional basketball, had a different take. He said, "There's no such thing as coulda, shoulda, or woulda. If you shoulda and coulda, you woulda done it." Think about that. The first time you hear it, it sounds like a put down. The second time, it starts to sound like grace wrapped in accountability. Here's what Riley understood about elite performance. The gap between intention and execution is not usually a talent gap. It's almost always a commitment gap. And the language we use after the fact tells us everything about how honest we are being with ourselves. When we say, "I should have spoken up in that meeting," we are often telling the truth about what we knew, but not about what we chose. The should implies a standard we recognized. The woulda implies a capacity we possessed. The only missing variable is the moment we decided not to act. Riley was not trying to shame anyone. He was trying to strip away the fog that lets us feel reflective without actually doing the harder work of being honest. This is a common misread. Leaders who hear this quote for the first time often think it's about blame. They think Riley was the kind of coach who pointed fingers after a loss. He was not. He was the kind of coach who created a culture where the truth was the baseline. No softening, no deflection, no comfortable rationalizations masquerading as self-awareness. So here's the reframe. This quote is not a criticism. It's a calibration tool. Every time you catch yourself using a coulda, shoulda, or woulda language, it's a signal worth examining. Not to punish yourself, but to ask one honest question. Was this a genuine obstacle, or was this a moment where I had the ability and chose comfort instead? Those are two very different situations. A genuine obstacle deserves honest acknowledgement. A comfort zone avoidance disguised as an obstacle deserves something else entirely. It deserves the kind of clarity that Pat Riley specialized in. Great leaders build this kind of discernment over time. They get better at distinguishing between real constraints and the stories they tell themselves when they are tired or afraid or simply not ready. And they build teams where that same honesty is expected and respected across the board. There's something else worth naming here. These principles do not belong to any one era. They've been the foundation of elite performance in every field, in every generation. Whether you're leading a manufacturing team, a nonprofit, a startup, or a large organization navigating a rapidly changing environment, the question Pat Riley was really asking is timeless. Did you do what you were capable of doing when it mattered? That question does not care what tools you have access to. It does not care what the conditions were like. It's about character and commitment at the moment of decision. So carry this forward with you today. The next time you hear yourself using coulda, shoulda, or woulda language, pause. Not to criticize yourself, but to listen. That language is pointing at something, a choice that felt too risky, a conversation that felt too uncomfortable, a decision you kept putting off until the window closed. When you can look at those moments honestly, you get sharper, you get more reliable, and over time, you become the kind of leader that other people can actually count on because your commitments mean something and your self-assessment is trustworthy. Pat Riley built dynasties on this kind of culture. The storyboard told the scoreboard told the story every night. There was no hiding behind what could have been. There was only what was and what you were going to do about it. Wisdom is not just knowing the right thing. Wisdom is choosing it when it's hard. That is what separates good leaders from great ones. That is always what it has been.